Did you know that a Korean film has been preliminarily nominated for this year's Academy Awards Best Animated Feature Film? It's a film titled Red Shoes and the Seven Dwarfs. The film is perceived to have opened a new chapter of Korean animation. Then when did Korea begin to create its own animations? Aren't you curious? Let me tell you the whole story. Originally, Korea's animated film were created to commercialize products or promote government propaganda. Take a look at this clip, for example. Let's Catch a Rat was the nation's first animated propaganda film created by the National Film Production Center in 1959. As you can tell from the title, it literally calls for the public's effort to exterminate rats. The message was delivered in a lighthearted tone by featuring Kojubu, a then-popular cartoon character. And in the following year, a noteworthy commercial caught the public's attention. It was a soju commercial created by director Shin Dong-han. It was created using a full animation method based on the process of recording the lines first and then completing the visuals after. Using the 24 frames per second format, the film manifested lively and natural character motions. The commercial turned out to be a major hit, and then director Shin embarks on a mega-scale project that later sets a milestone in the history of Korean animations. Can you guess what that might be? It's a film called A Story of Gil-dong, the first animated feature film made with Korea's very own technology. Gil-dong is a classic novel about a folk hero in the Joseon dynasty who heroically steals from the rich and corrupt aristocrats. Beloved by the people as a Korean superhero, his tale has been widely used as a source of many films and even soap operas. Now getting back to what I was saying earlier. Director Shin's animated feature film was based on South Korean Gil-dong, a comic book series. The full animation method, which was used once again in the making of this film, received both commercial success and critical acclaim. However, the popularity of the art form did not last long. The 1970s was dominated by foreign animation films. But not so fast. A hero tends to rise in the most turbulent times. That's when a superhero was born who paves a new way for Korean animations. As you guessed it, it's Robot Taekwon V. A Korean robot that stands 56 meters and weighs 1,400 tons. A Taekwondo expert with a fierce double round kick. It releases its true power when it merges with Pilot Hoon, who is the world's Taekwondo champion. Can you imagine how cool this was back in the day? Children were all instantly mesmerized by the gigantic, righteous robot. Robot Taekwon V became a children's icon and gave them dreams and hopes in the 1970s. It also set the foundation for quality animations like Taekwon youngster Maruchi Arachi to see the light of day. Robot Taekwon V's success did not stimulate the growth of animation films. It's actually because Korean animators at the time were mostly subcontracted for foreign animation studios. Fortunately, the 1988 Seoul Olympics provided an opportunity for Korea to turn the table around. Productions for TV animation started to bear fruit as calls for homegrown animations increased. Tuli the Little Dinosaur was easily the most attention-grabbing program. Based on a cartoon that was serially published for decades since 1983, Dooly the Little Dinosaur was even made into a movie after such a rave response from the TV broadcast. Aren't you at all interested in finding out who Tuli is? Here's a clip that shows exactly who the character is. After a 100 million year-long hibernation inside the glaciers, baby dinosaur Tuli awakes. He uses a time machine to embark on a galactic journey with friends he met on Earth.
저 둘리가 왔어요. 이게 누구야? 너 둘리 맞니? 그래요, 엄마. 저 둘리예요.
But the joy of their reunification doesn't last long due to an attack from a space villain. The movie ends happily with Tuli using his superpowers to defeat the villain and save his mom and his friends. The Adventure of Ice Planet, released in theaters in 1996, was the fourth highest-grossing film in Korea that year. And Tuli is still remembered as the most beloved and most commercially successful animated character in Korea. Meanwhile, Korean animation started with great news to start the year off in 2021, and it was all thanks to the Korean film Red Shoes and the Seven Dwarfs making the preliminary nomination list for this year's Academy Awards Animated Feature Film category. The list proves that Korean animation can compete with competitive films like Disney Pixar's Soul and DreamWorks' The Croods: A New Age. Red Shoes and the Seven Dwarfs by Disney's first Korean lead animator Kim Sang-jin and his fellow Korean staff had initially aimed for a global release.
I don't want your jewels.
It is headlined by Chloe Moretz and Sam Claflin and has received positive response after being released in some 70 countries, including the UK, Spain, and Italy. Let's have a peek. The film unfortunately has not been included in the final list for the category at the Academy Awards, but it did make a significant step that showed the potential of Korean animation. The story of Korean animation. How did you like it? Korean animated features still need a lot of work to be globally recognized. But as with the case of Red Shoes and the Seven Dwarfs, Korean animations are knocking on the doors of the global box offices with infinite potential. I'm sure that K-animation is next in line, right after K-movie and K-pop.